though Dr. Chris is back now.
Right, so down to serious stuff.
Yeah.
OK. What's this?
Got a machine here called Energy. It's actually an energy machine. Now, when you breathe air, you take oxygen in, the oxygen dissolves in your blood, but there aren't bubbles of oxygen in your blood, there are molecules dissolving in the blood. Now what this machine does, it takes air from the room atmosphere, it's treated within the machine to change the oxygen molecule to what's called singlet oxygen, which is very reactive, and then that changes back again to the ordinary oxygen molecule, releasing energy.
So what you're doing is you're getting away from the big tanks, are you?
Yeah, away from all of that. I mean, that's a different sort of scene altogether, right, in the medical world. I mean, this is for anybody and everybody. So what you're getting then is this energised air comes up through the water, and the moisture carries that energy into your body, so it's up the nose.
So who would use it, and what would they use it for?
Well, anybody and everybody. The German Olympic team use it, and you just sit breathing this energised air for 20 minutes a day. And as I say, the German Olympic team use it, the German Paralympic team, sportsmen, athletes.
So it's for healthy people to make them healthier, or is it for...
what it's doing, it's also it's boosting what are called antioxidants because of this oxygen, you know, being affected by this you know, electrical gadget. It's boosting your antioxidants, take away free radicals. So in effect, most diseases, the commonest denominator are high levels of free radicals. So when you look at what this could do, I mean, certainly it could help patients with ME because it's giving you energy, right? It can help patients with any degenerative disease. There's a condition called macular degeneration, where the back of the eye degenerates. Arthritis, which is degenerative. Heart
this
disease.
is all tested in research, this machine,
Yeah, and there's been some recent research showing that asthma patients get a great deal of relief from this. Their peak flow, the elasticity of the lungs when they blow into the machine is increased by using this machine. And also it has effects on the skin.
I was going to say, wouldn't that make you look younger? Because that's all the publicity about creams and everything. Oh, their free radicals are eliminated and all the sciencey bits. So
it's you know, it's got such a lot of potential uses, and you know, even diabetic patients have used it, and the sugar has stabilised. You know, the list is almost endless.
The air we breathe is our most important form of nourishment and the best medicine. It's the #1 energy provider, something we're often not aware of. We're even less aware of the fact that we use only 1/4 of the air we breathe in, exhaling the remaining 3/4 again unused. This generally neglected statistic led us to develop a technology with unforeseen potential for the future.
Air consists primarily of one main element. That's the 78% nitrogen, almost 80%, that leaves about 21% oxygen. The average person uses just 1/4 of this 21% with every inhalation. That means that 3/4 are exhaled again unused.
This potentially usable remainder is generally inefficiently absorbed by the body, especially where stress, illness and nutritional deficiencies are involved, but also due to the normal aging process. Increasing environmental pollution contributes to the problem. On the other hand, we know that forest air provides the greatest potential for air regeneration. With this in mind, we've tried to gain an insight into some of nature's laws, which have not yet been fully understood. Our research led us to the principle of photosynthesis, which nature uses so brilliantly to apply the green coloring chlorophyll to plant cells.
The principle of the energy technology has basically been copied from nature. You can see this principle at work most clearly and simply in a plant cell, where it looks like this. The green leaf-colouring chlorophyll is brought by sunlight into a state of high reactivity. This now active chlorophyll then brings the oxygen into a state of high reactivity as well.
Oxygen in a reactive state is oxygen that can easily combine with human cells and is thus fully accessible for the body. The oxygen that we breathe is not in this state. But nature shows us, for example with active chlorophyll, that such a state is possible to achieve. Natural Energy Solutions has made it our goal to research this potential and develop practical applications for enhancing human life with it. This goal has been achieved in the form of a pioneering invention, an inhalation unit known as Energy. energy machines are all easy to use, highly durable and extremely economical with almost no running costs.
Both the company as a whole and its products are accredited to the highest international standards governing the field of medical equipment. The MedCert certification process clearly demonstrates our commitment to quality and thorough documentation. We have our own proven production facilities to meet these exacting standards. None of our energy devices are manufactured in low-wage third-world countries abroad. Instead, we prefer our work to be carried out in Germany and subject to stringent controls. We employ over 100 staff for the production of these high-quality devices, which are sold and shipped to more than 70 countries worldwide. Our staff are working for your health with the backing of renowned experts.
I could see that energy was a process which prepared oxygen in a different way and is actually able to reduce oxidative stress. There are many studies to prove this, and when I looked into it more closely with some skepticism, I just decided to be guided by my own day-to-day experience. We treated patients with tinnitus, with fatigue problems. We began aiding regeneration in performance athletes and other athletes. And after a relatively short time, we started receiving positive feedback from the patients and from our own investigations of measuring performance before and after. We could see for ourselves that this was clearly a route to success.
I was skeptical too in the beginning. You need to be when a new idea comes along. But the patients were clearly benefiting from it, and so I said we'd work with it, and now I cannot imagine life without it. First of all, we carried out our own observations, not just on our own patients, but also by contacting self-help groups, including groups for sleep disorders, because I have a lot of contacts in that area. And we saw some amazing results. Patients were finding it easier to fall asleep and were able to sleep right through the night. There was even one patient who could suddenly hear again. Her ear, nose, and throat specialist, who saw it firsthand, was totally amazed and couldn't explain it. And we experienced the same with patients with macular degeneration disease as well.
For that particular condition, there has been little prospect of a cure. Many patients suffering from this degenerative eye disorder become resigned to seeing life through a haze. Patients such as Anna-Katharina Linnartz. She had permanently blurred vision until she tried energy. She experienced an improvement, and not just in her sight.
With an affliction like this, you just have to learn how to cope. Where there was once a difference between my right eye and my left eye in terms of colors, that's gone now. I can see colors just as well with both eyes. I now drive a Lexus, which is a sporty car, and I drive like a sports car racer. Believe it or not, it's true.
Before energy, this would have been unthinkable for her as a patient with age-related problems and macular degeneration. But now, the 84-year-old is back at the wheel of her car, something she takes very seriously.
Aber jetzt! Come on! I guess I'll just have to get out and give him a push. The macular degeneration has disappeared. As you can see, I'm a totally different person now. It's a miracle.
72-year-old Hermann Josef suffers from macular degeneration, a disease of the retina which had left him with only 10% vision in both eyes. Mr. Wurt could barely see at all by the time an ophthalmologist began treating him with energy.
After 10 treatments, the first test was done, and it showed an improvement of almost 40% in the left eye. But vision in the right eye has remained at about 10%. Since December of last year, I've had the machine myself, and since then I use it, at least 4 times a week. My vision has continued to improve, especially the left eye, which is now at almost 60%. And when we did the last test at the end of May, beginning of June, we found for the first time that vision in the right eye as well had improved from 10 to about 15%.
Free radicals are one of the main enemies in the fight against aging, and because no radical oxygen is supplied in energy therapy, there are fewer free radicals. That has huge benefits for all the organs, for the skin, and for how the brain performs.
All energy units are delivered with all parts necessary for immediate operation. These include a mains receiver for the electrical outlet, an air filter to be changed after every 50 hours of operation and 1 replacement filter, a glass bottle to be filled to 1/3 with quality drinking water, a bubbling unit for the bottle, a sufficient initial supply of inhalation sets, and an aroma bottle for dispensing essential oils. And this is how easy it works. Attach the filter at the back, place the glass bottle 1/3 full into the hollow in the cabinet, then carefully insert the bubbling unit and connect the adapter. Attach the inhalation set to the fixture at the front, then plug the mains adapter in at the back, and that's it. After a brief self-test, the unit is ready for use. Wolfsheim near Mainz. After impressive results reported by numerous patients, the first scientific study of healthy people tested under laboratory conditions was conducted. The Knopf Institute for Medical Bionics studied the effects of the energy technology on 15 test persons. Statistics were gathered on pulse rate, blood oxygen level, heartbeat variability, and the basal metabolic rate.
First, we take a normal ECG reading that we observe here with a monitor, the kind you see in any doctor's surgery. On the other side, we have here the standard pulse scanner, which also shows us the level of oxygen saturation. Then we have a standard instrument for taking blood pressure. Finally, we have here the polar scanning system, used in sport and sports medicine. It takes a reading which is fed via an infrared interface and a normal watch to a computer, which then immediately registers the corresponding heart frequencies on the monitor.
The test subjects' various rates are taken in a resting state and always in the same order before and after the energy inhalation session. The main focus of the study is on examining metabolism and the efficiency of the autonomic nervous system.
What's very important are the distances between the heartbeats, the so-called beat-to-beats. This is the heartbeat variability, and cardiac variability is representative of the variability of the autonomic nervous system. In other words, the greater this variability is, the better the nervous system can act and react. That means that I burn the energy from each breath more optimally, giving me a more optimal use of my resources, so I make gains on energy.
The study proves, after just 1 treatment with energy, the test subjects enjoy a markedly improved level of energy production. Clear scientific proof of the direct effect of energy on the entire organism.
When we check the rates following the inhalation session, we see that the metabolism, the so-called basal metabolic rate, is lower in all the test persons. In other words, the metabolic system operates more smoothly and consistently, so it's subject to less wear and tear. That can only be explained by the fact that energy actually enables us to energize, to purify oxygen in such a way that it becomes accessible to the organism, so that it has no trouble getting to where we need it to go, namely to the respiratory system of the cell. At this cellular level, the oxygen releases the energy which fuels the corresponding metabolic processes, sugar production, enzyme and protein synthesis, and the like.
Energy, an elixir of life for people of any age from 5 to 45 or even 85. The results with every single test person, whether 15 or 45, prove the individual effectiveness of energy.
Here we see the scattering density before the inhalation. It's very concentrated, very close together. When we look at the results after the treatment, we see what a perfect heartbeat variability dispersal can do. We see here that the whole sheet is full of an equally spread range of values. That means that after just 1 inhalation session, he shows a more economical use of energy and an increase in his neural regulatory capacity. I'll go back and show you again. In comparison, it's highly significant.
The study shows energy has a thoroughly positive effect on our entire nervous system and optimizes all of the body's organic processes.
Naturally, the conclusions that we can now draw from these results are fascinating for us. On the basis of the increased heartbeat variability, which in turn improves the regulatory ability of the autonomic nervous system, all of the body's processes, regulation, elimination and so forth, function better. Consequently, the aging processes within the individual organ systems are, of course, also less acute. Simply put, we have more energy. We're able to react better and more quickly to stress, so we're also less run down.
The study proves it. Energy is a fountain of youth. The test participants show an average improvement in heartbeat variability of over 30%, an outstanding statistic.
The increase in the average rate of those studied so far is 40%. Even when we compare it with the control group, with 10% variability, these are measurements taken without inhalation but under the same laboratory conditions, we still have an increase of 30% after one treatment. Again, the increase in heartbeat variability resulting in improved performance by the autonomic nervous system is shown to be 30%. Surprising, to say the least.
Lake Tegern in the Bavarian Alps. These exclusive surroundings are home to the renowned Klinik der Jägerwinkel. Long before scientific evidence was compiled, doctors here and in other clinics worldwide were placing their confidence in the benefits of energy and seeing some excellent results.
We didn't used to have these treatments. We've only had the unit for a year and a half now. The indications are primarily circulatory problems, the arteriovascular diseases which are becoming more and more common. Memory loss, poor concentration, a range of cardiac complaints, including post-operative complications after heart bypass or transplantation.
It began in June last year, when I was diagnosed with MS. I'd had 2 previous episodes in years gone by, in the space of 1 year, in fact. But then I was diagnosed last year and prescribed medication, which I was supposed to inject every day for the rest of my life, something I just couldn't handle. This carried on for 3 or 4 months, and I had terrible problems sleeping. I just couldn't sleep at all. I had flu-like symptoms, fever, and had to give up the job I loved, working as a beautician and podiatrist. I had one breathing session at the Energy company, and I could hardly believe it. I was able to sleep right through the night for the first time in 4 months. I went back the next day, then the whole week, and felt so much better. I had no more problems sleeping after that. Then, after 3 months, I suddenly realized I felt really good. And at that point I thought, I can't just sit around here at home. Energy is helping me. Why don't I go back to work and set up a business as a beautician and podiatrist? I opened a small podiatry studio where I incorporated the Energy technology because I'm such a fan. And now I work with 3 devices, which I either use with the podiatry or separately. And I'm really enjoying it because I can see that my customers feel better. And I haven't had any problems for, knock on wood, about a year now.
I must say it was very positive, not just in subjective terms. We were also able to deliver valid scientific data.
When you're in a stressful situation, and an operation is certainly stressful, then this energy-rich air can also help to speed up the healing process. Once the oxidative stress is reduced, the repair mechanisms in the body can be accelerated. I'm a completely different person. My heart problems and rheumatism have disappeared. Time and again, certain therapies with no real effect are adopted by the health insurance companies. Yet with therapies where we can see real benefits, they often hold back. I really do hope they accept this method. A year ago, I looked more frail. 2 years ago, no one could even bear to look at me. It was awful. But that's all changed now.
Given that everything's working properly, I believe I'm right in saying that this is a milestone in medical treatment.
And so, with nothing but air and water, prevention and regeneration are produced and exported globally. Energy, a revolutionary energy source and a milestone in medical history. First and foremost, though, energy is a great blessing for a great many suffering people who had already given up hope. People to whom energy has been able to return the most valuable thing of all, their health.